The first document to pull together is a timeline that lays out your discrimination experience. Now, laying out your story is the first step to proving it. Then you can focus on gathering evidence that will fill in the details of your timeline so that you can prove it went down just the way you say it did. Here's my timeline. I had great performance ratings and I was getting lots of awards. Then I got sick, became disabled, and requested reasonable accommodation under the ADA. My boss freaked out and refused to even discuss it with me. Then NASA took her side and helped her violate the ADA. So I complained to EEOC. And that was the exact point in time when I became a problem employee. I was backed into a corner and I fought back. And I won because I could prove every block of my timeline with evidence. You're going to want documents that prove you were a good employee before the discrimination. Then you're going to want documents that prove the discrimination occurred and was illegal. And finally, you're going to need documents that prove you were harmed by your employer's actions. I also recommend getting copies of your employer's procedures and policies that cover how they handle claims of discrimination. Now, I won't list all the documents that I got as evidence, but I will put a long list of suggestions in the description below. I wanted to briefly talk about statistical evidence. The U.S. Office of Personnel Management revealed that more than half of my coworkers considered my boss discriminatory and dishonest. And those survey results lend a lot of credibility to what I was trying to say. So I gave those to the investigator as well. So now that you have all this evidence, where do you store it and how do you organize it? Keep copies of everything you have in a secure location away from your workplace. Now, that may sound paranoid. Sometimes they are out to get you, especially once they've identified you as the enemy. I stored copies of everything that I had on a secure cloud. My husband spent hours scanning documents and naming them according to a file convention that I'm going to share with you in just a minute. Then he uploaded them to the cloud and I moved them to folders. Okay, just real quick, I want to show you the folder structure. This was a folder I made for my attorney so that she could easily view the files. Each claim has a folder. So I didn't know the difference between hostile workplace and retaliation. So I just put the files in one folder, and then NASA made some conduct allegations, so I kept some documents. But I want to show you the file naming convention that we used, and I like to put year first and then month and day. Data type designators, and I will put a key as to what the data types that I used were, that I could sort out every email that I had relative to age discrimination. And then I put initials if there was a person involved. That was an email that NASA sent about their policy for early retirement, whereas here these are my boss's initials. And then at the end we put a file descriptor. This is my performance appraisal from my boss on this date, and it's other. That is the file structure that I set up, and you will probably want to look at your own data and see what makes sense for you. Now, there are other kinds of evidence that you can use, and I'm going to leave a link in the description below to an EEOC document that covers what those are. Fight smart,